all our electric Land Rovers still have the original gearbox and transfer case installed. We want the flexibility to be able to use different gears in different scenarios. And to be honest, the electric motor we're putting in without that gear reduction wouldn't be able to do a lot of things that you would expect it to do. So it's great to have a gear for city driving, a gear for the highway. But with shifting gears requires gear shift knobs. And we just weren't happy with any of the gear shift knobs available. So if I pull out something that was on the car, so this is from a Series 3, and it's a hard plastic, quite weighty for plastic gear shift knob, and you can see that the, what would have been white lines painted on has now disappeared over the years. So it's kind of nice. It needed a special little sort of adapter in there to hold it on. You can buy recreations, and they're pretty cheap, but they're terrible. They'll often have a misalignment between the paint fill and the engraving, and even then, it's kind of like, rather than being, I guess, put on with the sphere in mind, it's more a top-down projection, so you get distortion on the numbers off to the edges. You get distortions on the R. All of that kind of stuff, which as one of the few touch points in the car and one of the main touch points, it's distracting, it's bad, and it's not the kind of product we want to put out. So we went down a path of thinking, well, we can 3D print something, and we can 3D print something with an inlay. We did one that was just an early sample of one that had a little inset for the gear pattern. We can do it in the font that we use around the rest of the gauges, so it all matches in nicely. So that's a small inset. We were going to maybe use a paint fill or a resin fill. We moved to trying that with resin fills. So here's one that's 3D printed and then polished, and then has a white resin internally in those areas, and that kind of looks cool. It's hard to get. It's hard to get sort of precision on the edges. They're hard to polish and hard to finish well. It's hard to get those two materials working together and getting that right balance of light. It's also it's ABS. It doesn't feel great. It's sewer pipe plastic. So it's an okay touch point, but it's not great. And this is another example where we tried to do a dual color 3D print, which you can do. The first goes never work out that well. You can see all the misalignment there, but dual color 3D print, you've got hot plastic mixing with hot plastic. It's never going to be quite precise. You can see that shift pattern is a little bit different to the other ones. It includes the traditional reverse, which we now use. So none of those were great. And I really wanted a metal piece. And when we're talking about a sphere and a collar and a way to attach that to the gear lever, there's other options out there. So we worked with a partner over in the States who does a lot of like billet steel and aluminium shifters, and we created this. So this is a stainless steel knob, powder coated, and then laser engraved on the top with the jaunt shift pattern. So you can feel the slight etching. So the laser engraving removes the powder coating and you're left with the raw finish of the stainless steel. To affix this to the Land Rover gear shifter, we needed a way, and this might be probably done up too tightly. So a separate collar with a bunch of little grub screws that this goes over any 1/2 inch shaft. So that means the standard Land Rover shifter on a Series 2 or a Series 3, the standard lever, and also fits really nicely on a slick shift. And we fit the slick shift gear shifting mechanism to all our builds as well. So that slides on. You can do it up with the 4 grub screws. Exposed fasteners, that's what Land Rovers are all about. So we didn't really mind that. So that's what we do as standard. We fit them to our builds, and they're also available from our store. So they will come to you in a little box with the shifter itself, and this is 500 grams, this shifter, so it is significantly weighty. It works really well on the slick shift because you get minimal vibration. You can see internally it's got the thread for the collar, so it comes with that, and it also comes with, of course, the collar itself and the adapter. So you can see that will then allow you to fit it over any 1/2 inch lever. and that screws together. And of course, change it to a different one if you wanted. So those two parts fits any Land Rover as standard. It's amazingly weighty. The font, I think, looks great, and it feels pretty amazing in the hand. So we're really happy with this. And as you know, get the steering wheel right, get the gear shift right, and that's what you're doing most of the time when you're driving the Land Rover.